Good morning. I'm Assistant Chief Tommy Diaz of the Harris County Sheriff's Office Law Enforcement Command. To my right is Major John Nanny, Sergeant Victor Gamboa, Lieutenant Ben Katrib, Captain Max Turner, Captain Todd Wagner, and Sergeant John Rivera. We're at 90 Uvalde on the east side of Harris County. We're currently investigating an officer-involved shooting. Um, right now we have the Homicide Division out here, Internal Affairs Division, the Crime Scene Investigators, and the Harris County District Attorney's Office. At 2:06 a.m., we received a Priority 1 life and danger call of a burglary in progress. Upon arrival, deputies made the scene, cleared the apartment, and as they were leaving, they got flagged down and advised that there was another burglary in progress. Deputies went to the second level of the apartment complex, and there was evidence of a burglary, and deputies knocked on the door, announced their presence. And as they step away from the door, they can see through the window and see that someone's approaching the door holding a weapon. Deputies discharged their firearms multiple times, striking a 28-year-old female who was struck multiple times. Deputies disengaged, took a cover and called for extra deputies. Deputies made the scene, and deputies called the people in the apartment complex out. There was one female struck. Tourniquets were applied and life-saving measures were provided. That particular female was transported to LBJ Hospital. She's currently in stable condition. The other female was not struck. The people that were struck were the leaseholder and a guest. So they were permitted to be in that apartment, but we did recover a weapon, and the investigation continues. As in any investigation, our primary criminal investigators or the homicide investigators, they'll collect evidence, they will talk to the witnesses, and they'll talk to the folks who were struck and talk to our deputies. This case will be referred, as with all officer-involved shootings, to grand jury for review. In addition to that, our Internal Affairs Division is on scene, who will review the case for any policy violations or anything like that. Does anyone have any questions?
So the unit where the shooting happened, where the leaseholders were,
Correct.
there was evidence of burglary or robbery there, or at a different unit?
No, correct. You are correct. There was evidence at where the shooting occurred. There was evidence of a break-in, which was evident from outside of the apartment.
But the woman that had the gun was not the person who broke in?
That is correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I'm assuming protocol at this time, the officer that discharged their weapon, there's investigations, paid leave, that sort of thing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Correct. So we have 2 deputies that arrived on scene and discharged their weapons. As within any officer-involved shooting, there is a time where the deputies will go on administrative leave, pending. There's a list of things that must occur to ensure the deputies' mental health and provide cooperation with the investigators and provide any extra evidence or anything like that. And then after that, they'll return to work.
Can you talk a little bit about this was a person that was allowed to be in this unit. They still approached the door with a firearm in a situation where there's law enforcement at the door. They're looking for a person that may or may not be dangerous. Kind of talk us through what a homeowner, a leaser should do in that situation and not do to prevent something from happening.
Sure. Folks have a right to have a weapon in their home. This is not to say that people shouldn't do these things, but if you do get a knock on the door at early in the morning, this was at 2:06 a.m., there's probably some level of concern as to who's knocking on the door. The deputies did announce themselves. So an alternative, in this particular situation, this is not to say that things should have been done different, but hey, they could have called 911 or that is an option. But that'll come out in the investigation as to like what could have, if anything, been done differently. So.
I know you mentioned tourniquets were applied.
Yes.
Do we know, is this person going into surgery, where they were shot?
They were shot multiple times. They are in stable condition. They're alert and speaking, thank God. So, our heart from the department, this is very concerning when we have someone that's shot. But we're in Houston, Harris County. We have some of the best medical personnel in the world. And so we're very fortunate that we have our partners out there to provide health care to people after they've been severely injured. All right, thank y'all.